And we want to talk about the Dennis Hastert story as well. If you missed the news on Dennis Hastert, apparently a plea deal is in the works. And we have John Seidel on the phone with us this morning. He's with the Chicago Sun-Times. He's federal courts reporter. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. Explain exactly what's going on with this so-called plea deal. What's happening?
Well, it looks like he's going to be pleading guilty to something on October 28th. We had a status hearing yesterday in Chicago where his lawyers appeared. We've had a couple of these now since Mr. Hastert's arraignment. Mr. Hastert hasn't been coming to court since then, but the judge has been trying to get a sense of where this is going. Is it going to trial or is it going to some kind of guilty plea? And he wanted an answer yesterday, and they gave it to him. They asked the judge to set a hearing where Mr. Hastert can change his plea. He pleaded not guilty to his indictment back in June. So the expectation is he's going to be pleading guilty to something on October 28th. We don't have the details of the plea agreement yet. The judge is supposed to get a copy of that on Monday. We probably won't know for sure until about the day of his guilty plea. Remind us of the background on this. How did we get to this point? Sure. The U.S. Attorney in Chicago unveiled Mr. Hastert's indictment back at the end of May. Actually, it was May 28th, I believe. He's charged with lying to the FBI, and he's also charged with a count of structuring, basically that he withdrew, I believe it was $952,000 from his bank accounts in a way that would avoid the bank's reporting requirements of reporting transactions of $10,000 or more. The backstory to that, apparently, was that he had agreed to pay $3.5 million to someone known still to this day only as Individual A to keep quiet about some kind of past misconduct that Mr. Hastert allegedly had something he had done to this person in the past. We've since had sources come out and allege that this has something to do with some kind of sexual misconduct by Mr. Hastert, dating back to his time as a teacher in Yorkville, Illinois. Mr. Hastert's lawyers have really they've called those leaks unconscionable. They've complained about them to the judge. They say that this effectively amended Mr. Hastert's indictment in a way that really isn't allowed, and it's really been an issue for them. There was a crucial filing deadline in the case earlier this week. Mr. Hastert's lawyers had said they had prepared a 37-page motion to dismiss the indictment that would have contained allegations of government misconduct. There were a lot of reporters watching to see if that was going to be filed on Tuesday. It was not. And when that deadline passed, that kind of signaled to everybody that we're probably looking at a guilty plea. But we didn't know that for sure. Excuse me, we didn't know that for sure until Thursday. And what was the scene like there yesterday? What did Mr. Hastert look like? Did he speak at all yesterday at this short meeting? Mr. Hastert did not appear yesterday. He hasn't appeared in court since June 9th. The judge has been waiving his appearance. Only his attorneys have been attending. And in fact, Mr. Hastert's lead attorney, Thomas Green, only appeared by phone. But it was still kind of highly anticipated hearing. I think lots of people knew that this filing deadline had passed. There was a sense that we were finally going to reach a turning point in this case. There were lots of reporters there. The hearing, it was called as a part of the judge's normal case call. You know, these judges have lots of cases they need to call. It happened quickly. Mr. Hastert's lawyer, John Gallo, who was there in the courtroom, said that he wanted a change of plea hearing. Prosecutors said they expect to have a written plea agreement. And they said they could get a draft to the judge by Monday. And that was really it. I mean, it was really fast. And then afterward, there was kind of a crowd of reporters in the hallway. Mr. Hastert's lawyers really haven't said much, but nor has the U.S. Attorney's Office. But I know that their spokesman was kind of surrounded by reporters, then trying to get a sense of what this means, any details that could come out. And of course, as has been the case with this since the indictment, really we still don't have a lot of details. And one of the reasons that people believe that Mr. Hastert probably wants to plead guilty is to avoid a trial. He apparently, according to the indictment, was willing to pay $3.5 million to keep something a secret. If this case went to trial, that secret could come out more than it already has.
John Seidel, federal court reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times. Thanks a lot for the update this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
As we wrap up, a couple of other bits of news in the papers. In case you haven't heard, USA Today reminds us that there will be no boost in benefits for seniors. Social Security will not adjust for cost of living. It could be belt-tightening time, they write, for 65 million seniors for just the third time in 4 decades. Social Security recipients won't get an annual cost of living adjustment. That's in USA Today.